This week, I had the pleasure of interviewing a really good friend of mine, Turan Mullins. Now, Turan was recently promoted to Senior Advisor of Access and Opportunity at Maryville University. Turan also works with organizations, training them on equity, leadership, diversity, inclusion. And to follow the great content he's putting out every single week, be sure to follow him on LinkedIn. I'll include the link in the description of this video. Now, that interview. A lot of people who watch the show are students, whether that be undergraduate students, graduate students. They're looking for success. They're looking to grow in their career, transition their career. Right. What is success in your mind? What does success mean?
Success to me is being able to live a fulfilling life that you've decided about. I mean, you make that choice and that intrinsic decision on what makes you happy. And success is being able to go out and do that every day.
With recent events, racial and social injustice have been getting the attention that they deserve, even as of recently in news. Jacob Blake, specifically what happened in Wisconsin. It's growing traction. NBA is getting involved. It's just getting more and more energy, which is fantastic. This show, we do a lot of predictions. You know, what do we see? What is the tea leaves telling us in the future? What do you see growing over the next year?
You know, I try to be optimistic and positive about these situations, but unfortunately, they continue to happen. So in a year, I can see us having the same conversation. I can see us sitting around, spinning our wheels, trying to figure out what's next, and looking at another unarmed Black man being killed by police on cell phone video. I feel like it's been constant in our country, and until we really step up and make some active change, and not just in voting, but in voting definitely, but build and be in partnership with law enforcement so that they can understand the community, so that the communities can understand them. I think that we are going to see a rise of nonprofits and social groups in our community to really help offset some of the ills in our country and our communities that cause crime and violence and some of these things. And so I'll on a positive note, I'll say that I'll see more people being proactive about doing things to get the support that they need to be better.
And one thing you brought up was voting, right? And how powerful voting is, voting for individuals. And sometimes I even say it's not just the president, obviously vote for the president, but the local elections. Like those individuals have so much power over the policing units and taxes and where that money goes. I've been pushing this idea for a while, and I want to get your feedback from it. I want to hear your thoughts. So I've been saying in class and keynotes and this YouTube show that the government used to have the most power on pushing and supporting racial justice, social justice. Think of affirmative action and things like that the government has tried to help out. I'm saying that nowadays, brands have more power than government. How do you feel about that? Do you think brands have this opportunity? What should brands do? Or do you think, no, it's still the government, they are going to be the spearhead for this?
I think it's everyone, right? And so if we're talking about systemic change and issues, then it's going to take everybody fighting at every level. And so when you think about brands, you think about Amazon, and you think about Jeff Bezos being, what is it, 20 billion now or something, like 200 billion? It's some ridiculous number that he's valued at. You think about Apple, but you also think about your defense contractors. You know, like, let's not just look at Nike, because Nike only does so much money. That's only so big of a brand. Let's really look at the powerhouse brands when you think about pharmaceutical sales. When you think about all these people who have, what are they called in Washington, when you pay the people to go push your causes? Lobbyists, yes. Lobbyists. You have your lobbyists out there. Why aren't people applying some of those strategies to create justice for racism, right? And putting that money to good use in that way? That's what we need to really pull at. And it's still the government responsibility. I think you alluded to earlier, it's great to vote for a president, but if you don't understand your senator, your mayor, your alderman, you have to understand all those local levels of politics to be able to impact change in your community. And it's a trickle down. But we also have to engage in politics, right? I think that it's great that athletes are coming out and speaking out. And I always get a little mixed reviews when I see people hold LeBron James to a higher standard than they'll hold their local mayor. Once you have a mission statement, once you make the Black Lives Matter tweet or statement, come up with a set of goals that really can help drive change, whether that's educating your employees, whether that's committing dollars to communities, whether that's working with HBCUs and minority serving institutions to bring in interns, whether that's education programs that you're sponsoring for other people in community. Those are some really active things you can do and go further than just a tweet or a hashtag or a statement.
For every senator we have in the United States, Amazon has 3 lobbyists, all living in DC. Just the ones living in DC. They have lobbyists across the country. Just living in DC, there's 3 lobbyists for every 1 senator. So that says a little bit about that money. You are a thought leader. You keynote, you speak on many topics of diversity, inclusion, leadership, as well as higher education. And right now with COVID-19 and so many, disruptors in higher education, where do you see it? Again, prediction. What changes do you see, not just at Maryville, but from a macro scale of all higher ed? What kind of changes do you see coming up in the future?
We're starting to see it now where the business case for higher ed is more critical than ever. You can't just charge students an arm and a leg and say it's for the greater good, right? They want to see a return on investment. They want some amenities, and they also want to see something that works with their lifestyle. Because whether I'm an older student who's going back to school, who's looking for a new trade you're also going to see institutions who right now are learning that in a pandemic, we have to be able to teach, learn, and develop anywhere under multiple conditions. Is finally the old towers and white ivories of academia finally going to fall? And we're going to really approach learning in a way that's best for all people. And we're going to begin to give access and opportunity to everyone. You think about the digital textbook platform. You think about, kudos to you as a professor. I'll give you a shout out. You think about all the different ways and dynamics that you teach and teach students. You can stand in front and give a lecture. You can give them YouTube. You can give them Snapchat. You can give them TikTok. Whichever way you want to learn and grow, you can get this information.
I'm going to give you a little less than $5 million gift here. Now I'm going to buy you your own 30-second Super Bowl commercial. You can put whatever you want in this 30-second Super Bowl commercial. So what's the message? What are you getting across to the most watched thing in the United States? What's going to be?
See, Dustin, I always knew you had that bag, man. I knew all these speaking, YouTubes, and this professor stuff. I knew you was out here doing it well. So I appreciate the $5 million. Have you seen the latest Jay-Z and Pharrell video, Entrepreneur?
I have not.
Oh man, go check it out. I would do a spinoff of that. And so, when I first heard the song, I wasn't in love with it, but when I saw it and it showcased and it tells a story of African-American business owners, educators, and people throughout the community, I think in this climate right now, I would showcase some of that with a touch of allyship and community. And so I wouldn't just focus on African-Americans. I would focus on anybody in our country that is doing things to help improve our climate, our situation, or whatever. And I would highlight that. People to understand, again, that it is all of us versus injustice and oppression, right? It is, we're all human in this. I want us to be able to live a great life, live our best lives, to be inspired, to achieve, to chase dreams. That's what I want for our community, and that's what I want for the world.
Well, Turan, thank you so much for taking time to be on Office Hours this week.
Yeah, no problem, Dustin. Thanks for letting me come on and using your platform to give some voice to these topics and issues. And so I respect what you're doing, salute you as a professor and an educator, and just be well and good luck to all the students and have a great semester.